So it totally feels like we're either at the beginning of a new Minecraft era, or we're transitioning over to one. There are 3 big cornerstones. The timeline for the beginning of this brand new Minecraft era takes us back to one of 2 places, maybe a little farther back, when Mojang decided to implement the armadillo before the 1.21 update, and at the same time, basically entirely redo the dog, adding a bunch of brand new variants and changing how its health and damage works, and even more. This was a pretty significant departure from how Mojang has been doing things for like years on years now, almost maybe even forever, depending on how you want to look at things. On the other hand, our other departure point might be a little bit more recent, with the recent implementation of the bundle properly, for real, and full. Mojang doesn't seem to care about saving features for the major update now. Instead, and to might I add smartly, they're actually adding things in between the big updates that might actually be a little bit interesting. From a business hype and promotion standpoint, all 3 of them, this is such a big thing, but that's not such the point of today's video. Let's talk about those cornerstones. And with these cornerstones, is there maybe hope for some of the great lost features? Our first of what I'm calling the 3 cornerstones, if you will, of this new Minecraft era is a sped up development. The armadillo is the perfect example. Sometime along the line, when they were revealing the behind the scenes process of the armadillo, the beautiful concept art, they mentioned that this was the fastest mob that they ever developed. Realistically, we have no way of knowing exactly when the idea for the armadillo, the initial concept, came up, but the armadillo's public reveal happened right around the middle of October last year with Minecraft Live. Somewhere along the line, thanks to the devs' transparency, we found out that the armadillo actually got built out pretty quickly and efficiently. The second big cornerstone of this new era is updating old things, and the beginning of that type of era kind of takes us back even farther, thinking back to when the Vex was first updated kind of randomly in one of the follow-up updates to Minecraft 1.19. Then, about a year later, late last year, the Bat was updated, following that up with the big wham bam of the dogs, a real update for real, with brand new health, combat, look, all of it. Yeah, some old updates are definitely bigger than other old updates, but the old things, they're getting updated in the middle. In the middle as in not necessarily inside of a main update. I mean, I guess I'm sure if something fit into the main update, they would do it there. But otherwise, if they have a vision for, say, revamping the Bat like they did, they could just basically do it whenever. Now, our third new cornerstone of this new era feels like the least important one, but it is a thing, and I wanted to mention it. Hold on you just a minute. This is a beautiful, stunning mountain. Oh my god. Alright, so thinking back to Minecraft 1.20, the armor trim, the exploration-y archaeology update of our dreams. Big theme was obviously explore your world and look around. Following things up with the Dillos and Dogs update, the big theme is kind of explore your world still and collect the dogs, go out and find them. But at the same time, with the armadillo scoot mechanic, the wolf armor, everything like it, maybe it's almost a little combat related as well. Fast forward a little bit to like right now, what's currently going on with the bundle situation on both versions of the game, and it totally, at least in my eyes, completely ties in with the update 1.21. I mean, sure, even though I'm running around inside of a field picking up random bits of flowers, seeds, and other random things, you could basically imagine this inventory chock full of a ton of random things as the random rewards that you will get inside of the trial chamber. There's gotta be a quote of me saying it in the video somewhere early on in the development cycle of 1.21, but I said if the trial chamber is added to the game and there isn't an inventory solution, I mean, it's gonna be really difficult to deal with. And sure enough, kind of definitely is, and sure enough, well, they're addressing it. I guess what I'm getting at here is with these minor update eras, they still kind of fit with the theme of the major update as a whole. So, we're in a brand new Minecraft era where minor updates might actually genuinely be interesting, which is super cool to see. With these minor updates finally actually being substantial and maybe even a little bit more loose when it comes to the theming. Is there hope? So in this next portion of the video, I've got a list of about 8 or so different features that we're going to take a look at, talk all about them, what they'd be like, all while calculating the possibility of these updates actually making it to the vanilla game at last, beginning with the elytra. Oh boy, so this one takes me back. It's a long time ago now, but the elytra, the devs specifically stated when they were redoing the terrain with Minecraft 1.18 and everything, that they wanted to look at transportation and maybe say, balance it a little bit. Factor in all of the noise that this one gets from the community constantly when it comes to horses, rails, and maybe even the elytra itself, and elytra updates, revamps, I mean, they're clearly desired. Or if not desired, just at least maybe considered. Considered might be a better word. Thematically, the elytra getting a revamp, or just transportation in general, if we widen the scope a tiny bit, it doesn't really exactly fit with anything going on right now. In fact, it probably would have been a whole lot better with the theme of explorations that we had in Minecraft 1.20. But if the devs are speeding up development, one would think that readjusting how maybe transportation works in the game after the ideas are done and made up, well, this is something that totally shouldn't really take that much time to develop, right? Instead, the feedback part of these changes would probably be the longest part. There might be quite a bit of adjusting that has to happen, but I mean, that's exactly what the minor updates are for. Ah, yes, Minecraft 1.21, the update very famously all about tuff and all about the copper. Alright, look guys, you already knew that this was going to be included in this video. How could I not do it? The copper golem. Thematically, let's just get it out of the way. Cat's out of the bag, you know what they say, the copper golem, it made way too much sense to... How did this not make it into 1.21? Like, this was literally the update for the copper golem. Or was it? Okay, so alongside the addition of the copper golem, we had other things like copper buttons as well. The copper golem was allegedly going to walk around and at random, basically press these copper buttons. It's so adorable. Interact with the buttons at random. This AI, that might take a little bit more time to actually get done, I'll admit it. Now, the actually act of like finding it in the world, that takes no time at all because it's a golem. That means you literally just make the thing. If they want to, they could have added it to a structure. Maybe you find it in the trial chamber, but totally, they don't have to necessarily do that. Take the snow golem, for example. It exists. You just gotta make it. For any of the mobs like this one and the other ones that we might talk about here today, I'm not going to really factor in like the art design, the animations, or anything like that. It's just not something I feel we need to focus on, but I know it is a crucial part of adding a new mob. So let's say maybe the devs ran out of time when it comes to developing the copper golem. After all, the AI seems like it might be an entirely unique one, so they need to figure that out, work that out. Adding a brand new button alongside it, I mean, come on, how hard could that be? Or maybe the devs realized that this is a feature from the past that was a loser, which means a majority of people did not care about this thing, so they didn't see it as a crucial thing to include in the main update. Maybe the copper golem could be the perfect continuation of the 1.21 era. Now that the main update is already out and the exciting part of it is here for everyone, maybe it could be about time to work our way back around to one of the losers and re-implement this thing, because I mean, come on, how could you not say it? If they're ever going to add this thing into an update and they want it to actually fit, I mean, this would be the update of all time, right? Next up, the combat update that surprisingly didn't exist inside of the recent combat update. So from this update's initial reveal, I got so excited, I swore I would have placed a bet on it that the combat update would surely be coming inside of the update that Agnes quite literally called a tinkering and a combat update. I mean, literally we had a chamber where we could trial all of the brand new combat mechanics inside of, practice, and learn them. It just makes, again, too much sense. I think it was maybe King B-Dogs that a little bit later on in the development cycle, once it seemed to be a little bit clear that, yeah, the combat is probably a lost cause for this update. Well, yeah, I believe it was King B-Dogs who said, no, it's not coming. In fact, we would need a lot more time to test that mechanic out before we implement it. Sounds familiar. Sounds so familiar, in fact, to what was happening exactly precisely about a year ago right here today, the villager test updates. These villager trades were slated to be completely redone alongside the beautiful wandering trader as well. This is the saddest lost cause one here, because this new trader was miles and leagues better than the old one. I mean, the prices were better with this guy. The fact that this guy would have actually bought things from us was better. They even made his nose smaller, which is finally so good. Okay, maybe they didn't do that part, but still. Now it would be so interesting to figure out what Mojang's original plan for these villager updates really was, because they kicked the villager updates off last summer, then Backlash popped up like pretty much right away, and then in no time at all, it was already time for the Minecraft 1.21 promo hype and everything like that, so it seems like these updates went to the back burner for a little bit of time. This is another one that I guess really would have fit in with the exploration themes of Minecraft 1.20s. At the time of making this video, we're right before a snapshot, so I guess maybe we'll see and surprise the villager updates make it into a snapshot, but I don't know. I just hope all hope isn't lost for the villager update cause, because, I mean, it was a pretty interesting idea. However, the combat updates, oh boy, if you want to update the combat, well, maybe you want to add an environment where players could literally just test out that brand new combat, right? Oh man, those combat updates, if they wanted to implement those things, they could totally do what they did last summer and implement them right now inside of the snapshot cycles as an experimental toggle, you know, so players could turn them on, jump into their world, slide into a trial chamber, and actually try out the brand new combat mechanics. At the same time, this update that might end up being a little bit controversial like it's been before, well, if they put a major update like this that needs time to be experimented, tested, and a little bit of feedback, if they put that inside of one of the minor updates, then the next major update isn't bogged down with it on a bunch of random controversy. I don't know, man. It just seems like an idea that almost makes a little too much sense. No matter what, I really hope that whenever this combat stuff does make it into the game, the old reach mechanics or the new old reach mechanics are implemented where, like, the trident reaches really far. Meanwhile, the sword is a little bit closer and the axe is the closest one out of all of them. Imagine all of the potential possibility that opens up for different weapons. Like, let's say, I mean, a dagger, the scimitar. I guess at this point, just turn Minecraft to ruthless, right? Honorable mention. We still have a couple more entries to talk about today. We're only 5 way through the list, but I wanted to give a quick mention to the old mob boats. Yes, of course, they could totally implement old mob boat features, say maybe the palm tree and the meerkat, in a minor update. This all kind of goes back around to the armadillo and what they said and did with this thing. They mentioned that this thing was developed pretty quickly in the grand scheme of things, maybe fastest developed ever when it comes to a mob, so they could totally do brand new mob development a little bit faster now. Would also totally be a great way to chunk away at that old backlog, right? Anyways, I could have really totally filled this whole video up with all of those biome backlog things, but I didn't really want to do that. If you want to talk more about biome backlog features, the old ones and how amazing they are, well then check out this video or the 1.22 playlist next. But on the note of mob boats, oh boy, we have to talk about it. Mob boats, the tuff golem, this poor little creature. If only there was an update all about updating tuff that this thing would have fit into. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, that's actually 1.21 again. Alright, so I'm no developer, so I don't know for sure, but if I wanted to take an educated guess and talk about timelines, compare this thing to the copper golem, I mean, functionally, at least if implemented kind of like this mod does it, well, it's relatively straightforward. You give it the tuff golem an item, and then the item is floating in the tuff golem's hand forever. Now, sure, counter argument, yeah, we gotta add 16 different variants of this mob for the different wool colors, but I mean, it's just an outfit. I mean, come on, let's be realistic. The tuff golem can't be the hardest thing to add in the world, right? If they can add the armadillo with a relatively advanced scooting mechanic tied into all of the dogs and everything like that, well, I would think that if they wanted to, they could easily implement the tuff golem in the matter of no time, using the tuff blocks that we got in 1.21, the jack-o'-lantern and wool that we got in like 1.0, and a little bit of entity display technicality that has been implemented in the past recent to modern updates. It almost fits too perfect. Ah, yes, enchantments. One of the most major parts out of all major parts of Minecraft. We got a couple of new ones in 1.21, but old ones almost got a little facelift. I'd like to interrupt this entry with a quick message from my chest plate. It appears the bloke would like to inform you to tap the like button. Anyways, not so throw of a throwback. The development of a Minecraft 1.21. Right near the end of it, when development was almost wrapping up, we had this interesting mechanic ported over to Minecraft in Java from Bedrock Edition. This mechanic involved the fire aspect enchantment. Essentially, if I had fire aspect on anything, I could hit something that should be lit on fire, say maybe a campfire, and that campfire would actually be lit on fire. Now, unfortunately, presumably maybe for bug reasons or balance reasons or something, right before the update release, they removed that from the game entirely. Another interesting mechanic that they tried to implement into the update, then removed due to backlash like a week later, well, it had to do with just about each and every single protection enchantment. Fire protection, for example, this was a big one. Different levels of fire protection would mean you would burn on screen, like that whole annoying fire shaky thing. Yeah, you would burn for different amounts of time. In the grand scheme of things, this was maybe a little bit of a net negative because that means if you have fire protection 1, you would have ended up catching on fire. Damage would have been reduced exactly like how it actually works right now. But this whole like being on fire thing, it would have lasted for much longer than it does right now. They backed out of both of these changes pretty quickly near the end of the development cycle, but they explicitly said, keep them in mind. We're going to take some more time, think about them, and come back around to them. Out of all of the features we've talked about today, I feel like this one right here is probably the most likely to see sometime soon. A not so recent but still thematically perfect one from Minecraft 1.21 is biome specific spawner. So this takes us all the way back to Minecraft 1.18 development era. During the development era, a change was implemented for one snapshot's time in which the zombie would no longer spawn inside of the dripstone cave biome. Instead, because this biome is all like wet and everything, it would be the drown. But instead, the drown wouldn't just spawn anywhere inside of the biome, it would only be inside of the aquifers. I feel like that could be expanded, right? I mean, biome-specific spawning is nothing new. Think of the Mushroom Island biome, for example. No hostile mobs will spawn inside of it at all. I guess the optimist in me is just ever hopeful that they would come back around and take a look at hostile mob custom spawning. Sort of exactly like they did with the trial chamber. Hey, oh, wait a second. Look at how they keep stepping up over the pointed dripstone. They go from, like, the floor all the way 2 blocks up. That is so weird. Have they always done that? I can't believe it's almost been a year, but not so long ago, the community was all lit up and on fire about the Minecraft crab update of all time. These beautiful little things. So if you enjoyed this video and you like these theoretical ones, hit that like button. It lets me know to make more of them. And check out the 1.22 playlist after this. Also, triple quadruple check that you're subscribed. You never know. Anyways, the crab. It's kind of funny. With the mob boat, in hindsight, they kind of gave us 2 options that totally fit with the theme of 1.21. And then one option that kind of more so fit with the theme of 1.20, exploration, with a penguin. Man, this was such an interesting idea to have the crab claw as a new item that would have extended how far you could reach blocks. That means you could place things maybe a little bit farther away or a lot a bit farther and break things quite a bit farther away too. This crab claw, if they could have figured out offhand functionality for it on Minecraft to Bedrock, could have been the perfect little buff to the trial chamber. The idea of the crab being able to break in place a lot farther away was also a pretty popular idea inside of the community. I mean, look, imagine how fun it would have been to get the opportunity to move your way around the trial chamber structure with the help of one reeking, stinking crab claw of an item. It's recent, it was loved, and it could fit in pretty much perfectly. So out of all of the ones that we talked about today, which one do you think is most likely? Or do you think there's another one that might be popping up sometime soon? And call it down below. A huge thank you to my patrons who help me make content like this: Gronk, Crazy Bay, Medical, Boomstick, Fire Dragon 19, CVM, and Nix3. Thanks for watching, everybody. It's been me, Waddles. I'll see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.